all-new 22 Civic, now on sale at Team Honda on Siegen Lane.
Hi, business owners. Phase 3. Woohoo! But do your customers know you're back? Well, that's where the Clarence Bug Show and Pelican Broadcasting can help. Right now, we've got great rates on advertising packages to help you get the word out. Shoot me an email at bugsclarence@gmail.com. Or better yet, call me up. I'd love to talk with you. 225-485-6839. Let's get together and make Phase 3 the best it can possibly be.
They said I could find you here. Why are you fishing? Our company's got to ship out 2 full color brochures and 20 color copies. You're killing me.
It's done. Designed, printed, packaged, and shipped.
How?
You just got to know the right people. Baker Printing, the printing people.
How come you get to fish in this private lake?
Like I said, you just got to know the right people. You can know the right people too.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Hello and welcome as we start today's edition of the Clarence Bug Show. Here's hoping all is well with you and yours in this part of the world. Since the last opportunity, we had to spend a little time with you roughly some 24 hours ago. You know, this is no earth-shaking revelation to you and yours, but we are all products of our life experiences. The things that we were exposed to as kids typically shape, to whatever degree, who we become as adults later in life. If you go back through your own personal history, there are probably some pretty strong likes and dislikes that you have as an individual, and it came about as a result of some specific instances in your childhood. Yours truly, I can't stand Brussels sprouts. Had them cooked the wrong way as a child, can't stand them to this day. Marty says I'm missing out. Well, that's just more for you, brother. That's more for you to have. Appreciate it. Anytime. Glad to help. But my point is this. In a state like ours, there are things that over time have almost become inherent in our society. Many of us, we do these things without any second thoughts whatsoever. Primarily because we've done them with such regularity over such an extended period of time that it's just become a part of us. Sadly, this is true for things that are good, and maybe even more so true for things that are bad. When I saw this story yesterday, it put a wound in my spirit. Because first and foremost, I love my state. I'm a Louisiana boy through and through, so much to the point sometimes that I have to check myself because I'm wearing my Louisiana on my shoulders. But additionally, when I saw this story, I also thought about the number of families that will be forever changed because of this. And one individual in particular that will have to carry this burden for the rest of their natural lives. Now, let me say up front, you never know what twists and turns lie ahead in the road of life. Many of us experience utterly horrible things at points in our lives, but by the grace of God, we overcome and we turn that negative into a positive. This story is out of Madisonville, Louisiana, in St. Tammany Parish. A 16-year-old arrested for an accident that occurred 7 weeks ago, where a 16-year-old female drinking and driving involved in an accident that killed 2 of her passengers and injured another along with herself. 5 16-year-olds in a car after midnight drinking, and now 2 families, instead of looking ahead to graduation, college, productive lives, are now planning a funeral. According to deputies, the car ran off the road, hit 2 trees, a utility box, and 2 signs. 2 of the passengers dying at the scene, others taken to a hospital with injuries. The 16-year-old female driver, arrested on 2 counts of vehicular homicide while driving under the influence, 1 count each of first-degree vehicular injuring, operating a vehicle while intoxicated, possession of Schedule II controlled substances, possession of Schedule IV controlled substances, reckless operation, and unlawful operation by a child under the age of 17. In our state, the laissez-aller bon temps roulé attitude permeates so many areas of our lives. But you know, my former pastor is fond of saying you can tell a lot about a society, about how they treat the elderly and their children. Now, someone, aside from this 16-year-old female driver, should have to answer to where did they get the alcohol involved in this. It's not that hard to figure out that there's a chain involved. Either someone knowingly sold a group of 16-year-olds alcohol. Possibly they stole the alcohol. Then again, there's always the possibility that one in the group raided their parents' liquor closet. And now, 2 kids are dead, and another will spend the rest of her natural life carrying that burden. You know, after 40 years in media in this state, there are still some things that you just can't help but get so frustrated over the fact that we're supposed to be better than this. You also, if you're like me, have to wonder, 5 juveniles in a car with alcohol out after midnight. Now, I will be the first to admit, it's been so long since I got my first driver's license, I couldn't begin to tell you what the rules are governing 16-year-olds and driving. But it's hard for me to imagine that in this state or any other, a 16-year-old can legally operate a vehicle after midnight with 4 other juveniles and no adult licensed driver in the car. There were so many laws broken in this that it's sickening. And the fact of the matter is, this is something that it could have very easily been avoided. You know, I mentioned that I am so guilty a lot of times of wearing my Louisiana on my shoulders because I love my state so much, and I hate to see individuals take liberties to talk negatively about the fine people of this state when that liberty is not theirs to take. But the thing that I hate even more than that, self-inflicted wounds. In the sport of tennis, they call it an unforced error. This was something that did not have to happen, y'all. This is something that, with the right attitude and approach, would never happen. How many times have we seen a public service announcement, a billboard, an ad on the internet, heard it on radio, don't drink and drive? How many times? You can't, they don't make a number large enough to encompass how many times we've heard and seen that there are deadly consequences involved, potentially every single time you do it. Now, say what you will, and listen, believe it or not, Marty and I were both young once, long time ago, but we were young. And I understand, Clarence, I know you tried drinking when you were a kid. We all did. And you would be right. You'd be right. I wouldn't dare insult your intelligence or mine to tell you that I did otherwise. But at the end of the day, the fear of consequences at home by far and away superseded anything else. Yeah, me and the buddies growing up snuck a drink. Secondary on my list of concerns, if we get caught, was that I was violating the law. You know what my number one concern was? The law of Sergeant Edward Claude Buggs Sr. and his household. Sadly, there's a 16-year-old that awakened today. And like probably every other day for the rest of her natural life, she has to shoulder the burden of killing 2 people when it could have very easily been avoided. I love my state, y'all. I love to let the good times roll. But we're better than this, y'all. Whether you know it or not, whether you want to admit it or not, whether or not anybody else on the planet believes it, we are better than this. Just saying. First break of today's show. Had an epiphany last night, y'all, and it does not bode well for a segment of our population. We'll talk about that when we continue today's edition of the Clarence Bugg Show, only on the Pelican. Stay close.
I owed the IRS $10,000.
The IRS garnished my wages.
They put a lien on my house.
I'm self-employed and didn't report all my income. They claim I owe a lot more than I do.
The IRS is the most powerful collection agency in the world. They do not give up until you pay.
I couldn't sleep. We were being audited. I called Tax Solutions Now, and a great big weight was lifted off my shoulders.
I called Tax Solutions Now, and they got the IRS off my back.
Tax Solutions Now had my wage garnishment lifted in 48 hours.
Tax Solutions Now can get you help. Our agents know the rules, can stop the pain, and get you the best deal.
Tax Solutions Now saved my business.
I qualified for the Fresh Start program. I paid less than I owed.
We connect you with a team of former IRS agents and tax professionals who get the IRS off your back. Time is running out. Call Tax Solutions now.
Call 800-778-4345. 800-778-4345.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to GreystonecountryClub.com.
Go where summer leads you in an award-winning Mazda CUV. Find yours during Mazda's season of discovery.
Call, click, or come by and discover your new Mazda today at Baton Rouge's Mazda dealer, Team Mazda on Airline.
Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent. Depend on us for service, for selection, for price. Get huge Whirlpool savings. Shop now and save on Whirlpool appliances throughout the store. Plus, experience our price match guarantee and ask about special financing. You can depend on the know-how of people who live appliances every day. Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent with nationwide buying power.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
Welcome back to today's edition of the Clarence Bugg Show. I was trying to remember in the last commercial break where it was I saw it and who it was that conducted the interview. There was a high-profile interview not so very long ago, and as is the case with so many other things these days, they were talking about racism. And one of the principals involved, either the interviewer or the interviewee, made the statement, we're just going to have to wait for these old racists to die off. As you might imagine, the inference in that statement was, we got to wait on the old white people to die off that are racist before we'll ever be able to fix the problem. Newsflash, y'all. Nothing could be further from the truth. Because racism has become such big money and a power trip that there are individuals in this country deeply embedded in institutions and agendas that will never let this die. It is such a sad commentary that individuals will go out of their way to manufacture racism. They'll look in every nook and cranny, and if they cannot find it, then we'll just make some up. Now, obviously, you are not concerned about making the country better when you engage in exercises of that sort. Typically, you're looking for one of two things: either money or power. Well, actually, it'd be three things, or both. Over the last couple of days, if you've watched the news, you've seen what the media and the left have tried to spin into a racist narrative of the Border Patrol agents on horseback at our southern border attempting to stop Haitian immigrants from illegally entering this country. Individuals that obviously have never ridden a horse in their life, but because they can smell racism from 1,000 miles away, have spun a narrative that anybody with a modicum of common sense knows is pure bovine fecal matter. Make the translation, you'll figure it out. But yesterday, an individual with a history of things of this sort just couldn't let the opportunity pass her by. Maxine Waters is an individual that has never met a racial cause she didn't like. So in the wake of this horrific humanitarian crisis at our border, involving individuals, Border Patrol, who want nothing more than to do their job and uphold the immigration laws of this country while being demonized for it, Maxine Waters came out and said, what we have seen at the southern border is, quote, wait for it, worse than what we witnessed in slavery. You heard me right. What we witnessed, quote, takes us back hundreds of years. What we witnessed was worse than slavery. Now, this woman serves as the chairwoman of the House Committee on Financial Services, deeply entrenched in power. And when the opportunity presented itself for some faux racism, she just couldn't resist. Quote, cowboys with their reins in hand, whipping black people. Haitians into the water. They're scrambling and falling down. And all they're trying to do is escape violence in their country. Now, in her haste to manufacture some fake racism, she insulted more people than anybody can imagine. How dare you impugn the sacrifices and what the slaves in this country went through? According to Maxine Waters, what we saw was worse than slavery. So let me get this right. People that looked like me were sold, kidnapped, or both, shackled, put on board ships in ungodly circumstances, kidnapped, taken halfway around the world. If they tried to escape, he had a foot cut off, or worse. But according to this dullard, look it up, you'll figure it out, this was worse than slavery. Never mind the fact that people that look like me, my ancestors, were sold, kidnapped, brought to this country against their will. Never mind the fact that the people we're talking about here are coming here willingly. Never mind the fact that the people coming here are breaking a law of this country to do so. And yet, according to Mad Max, what we witnessed was worse than slavery. You know how you can tell people are fake? You know how you can tell when people are full of BS? All you got to do, don't listen to what they say, look at what they do. For example, Maxine Waters, black woman. Conventional wisdom says she was elected, has been reelected, and reelected, and reelected. So there's a pretty darn good probability that her district in California is close to, if not majority black. So, when it comes to COVID-19 vaccinations, the number one group of people with vaccine hesitancy are black people. Arguably, the majority of the people in her district, if not most of them. Has anybody heard Maxine Waters tell the White House and her fellow Democrats that if you mandate these vaccines, it is mostly black people that are going to be hurt by it? That's a rhetorical question, by the way. We all know she hadn't uttered a peep. But give old Max the opportunity to see somebody white in the picture and somebody black, and she's going to point out the racism. Not just the racism, mind you. This was worse than slavery. Do you have any idea how insulting that statement is? If you're a black person, somewhere in your ancestry, here in America, in all likelihood, some of your ancestors were slaves. I'm not a betting man, but I'll take odds on this one, Hoss. There's not a single black person watching right now that can tell you their slave ancestors came here willingly. See, what she conveniently forgets, slaves were kidnapped and brought here, y'all. The boat didn't pull up on Africa's shores, and the Africans stood up and lined up 2 by 2, singing, oh, oh, and just willingly marched onto the freaking boats. Well, where are we going? Can't tell you that. Well, that's all right. We'll go anyway. Y'all seem like nice people. We'll go along for the ride. It ain't happening like that, Max. And this, I need to hurry up and go to commercial break because I have been trying to restrain myself over this dullard of a United States representative insulting the travails, the tragedy, the horrendous nature of what people went through with slavery, with a guy on a horse using the reins to get the horse to do what he wants him to do. But never put it past a good Democrat to gin up some racism wherever possible. As sad as that is, what's probably more sad is this doofus that she is has no clue how insulting what she said is. I know she doesn't have a clue because she held a freaking press conference to make the statement to the world. Of course, now, when the majority of your constituency are dumbed down voters, not only does it mean you don't have to have any shame, you don't have to apologize for insulting people the way you did. It's quite the opposite. You will probably get more donations than ever. And you're going to stick your chest out and tell people, see how I stood up for you? Typical Democrat / liberal / progressive. And some of y'all going to still vote for them. Go figure. Bottom of the hour break. We'll get her done. We'll talk more on today's edition of the Clarence Bugg Show, only on the Pelican. Stay close.
Got termites? Get Premier Pest. PremierPestServices.com.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
Hi, I'm Hurricane Betsy Barnes.
And I'm Dr. Kay Siller with the Rocket Right Show.
We are two busy blondes on the go showing off life in Louisiana.
Watch us on Pelican Sports Network.
And Talk 107.3 FM. Check local listings for times.
Hi, business owners. Phase 3. Woohoo! But do your customers know you're back? Well, that's where the Clarence Bugg Show and Pelican Broadcasting can help. Right now, we've got great rates on advertising packages to help you get the word out. Shoot me an email at bugsclarence@gmail.com. Or better yet, call me up. I'd love to talk with you. 225-485-6839. Let's get together and make Phase 3 the best it can possibly be.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Caught spiders? Premier Pest Services.
Welcome back to today's edition of the Clarence Bug Show. I knew that my faith in the American people at some point would bear fruit. You know, with the partisan nature, that's Marty's buddy, the fly that keeps flying around here. He just loves him some Marty. With the incident after incident after incident after incident, all negative, mind you, of things facing this country and the current administration. You know, when you've been around long enough, you see things before they happen. And a lot of it's just common sense. Understanding how Americans are and what our expectations are. Watching the Biden administration, I knew it's not going to be long before Americans are going to wake up and start to voice their displeasure. There's a term in political and polling jargon called underwater. Politicians will tell you readily what that means. If you are underwater in your approval ratings, that means there are more people that disapprove of the job you're doing than those that approve of the job that you're doing. And my experience has taught me over the years that when you botch something as horribly as the COVID-19 response that the Biden administration has done, your numbers are probably going to slip. Of course, now, if you have a rousing success with withdrawing from Afghanistan, you can balance that out. Ha! Good luck with that. Well, maybe you've done such a great job tamping down this ungodly increase in crime across the country, it will balance things out. Thanks for playing. Try again. All right, well, if you succeed in keeping inflation in check as we restart the economy, then you will balance these things out and you will probably stay above water. Chuckle, chuckle, chuckle. Have you been keeping a watch on the approval numbers of Americans for the Biden-Harris administration? Of the 50 states that make up our grand union, Joe Biden is now underwater, approval-wise, in 38 of the 50 states. Let me say that another way. Well, there's really no other way to say it, not more impactfully speaking. 38 of 50 states. More people in those states disapprove of the job that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are doing than approve of the job they're doing. And leave it to good old Joe, the great Democrat that he is. They just can't stop there. They just pile it on and pile it on and pile it on. What is arguably the most loyal part of the Democrat base, black folks, they're leaving. Due in large part, a 7-point drop in 2 weeks alone because of, wait for it, vaccine mandates. This is how the liberal mind thinks. Make sense of this if you can. The number one group of people that don't trust the shot, say they ain't gonna get the shot. Sorry, English teachers, I didn't give y'all the heads up on that one. The number one group, percentage-wise, are black folks. A large part, loyal part, mind you, of our party and our base. So how do we reward them? Well, let's get the media, the president himself, and all these high-profile Democrats and the Hollywood elites and sports figures and the like. Let's get these people, and social media, let's not forget them. Let's get all of these fine people together and see how many ugly names we can call them. Let's figure out how many ways we can insult their intelligence, if they ever thought you were intelligent, but I digress. We got to figure out a way, y'all. Yeah, they know that if you get the virus, you probably won't ever know you had it unless you have existing comorbidities. If you do get it, in all likelihood, unless you have serious existing comorbidities, you have a upper 90% chance of surviving. And if you get it, despite all the hoorah, all the ruckus we've raised about it, if you get the shot, good chance you're going to still get COVID, hoss. Now, a rational person, a reasonable individual would say, you know what? Those are pretty substantial arguments for not getting the shot. So what do? Instead of going with remedies that most people wouldn't have a problem with, hydroxychloroquine, of course y'all screwed that up when you demonized Trump for it, ivermectin, Regeneron, instead of going that route, what did they do? They call you idiots, science deniers, selfish SOBs, stupid. That's what they think about you. And you know what's funny? Not really, but you understand the sentiment. Think about the likes of Don Lemon, Maxine Waters, the left in general, how they rail and rail and rail in the most vindictive, vicious, and ugly fashion possible about those who won't get the shot. And you realize now, hopefully, don't you? They're talking about you. See, they will dress it up. They'll put a big old pretty bow on it. Let me tell you something. Walk out in the yard where your dog does its business, scoop it up, put it in a box. Go find the prettiest wrapping paper on the planet the most intricately tied bow and stick on that box is still you know what inside the box. See, they'll dress it up and tell you, them MAGA people, them Trump supporters, they're idiots, don't want to take the shot. Well, you don't want to take the shot. What does that make you? You never thought about it like that, did you? Mm-hmm. See, they learned a long time ago, y'all, how to tug at your emotions. They've become masters at it. They've taken it to an art form now. And the last thing you, as a good loyal Democrat, want to do, the last thing you want to do is have them call you all sorts of ugly names, threaten to take away your rights, your liberties, and your freedoms. But then the real American in you kicks in. You remember the Tuskegee experiments. You remember gentrification. You remember other things that folks, liberals, have done that have fermented the seeds of ruination in the black community. And now, right at 25% of black voters in this country are of the opinion, Joe Biden, nah, y'all can have him, I'm done. We might be a little slow sometimes, but we get there, Captain. We trudge ever so slowly. I like to call it deliberately. You ever been in the South Louisiana woods in the heat of summer? You better watch where you put your foot, Captain. You walk deliberately slower. To be sure, there's no copperhead. There's no cane field rattler. There's no, Marty's favorite, rabid squirrels. You don't just walk through the woods like you Gomer Pyle or somebody. You're deliberate. Why? Because experience has taught you something. We'll get there, y'all. Yes, we will. I have no doubt. We will get there. But rest assured, the point where we are in time right now in this country, it certainly couldn't hurt to get there as soon as humanly possible. Because they've made no bones about letting you know what they think about you, and if you let them, what they have in store for you. Final break of today's show. We'll get her done, come back, put that big old pretty bow with Marty's puppy's poop on the inside, and we'll wrap up today's edition of the Clarence Buck Show, only on the Pelican. Stay close.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to greystonecountryclub.com.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring taste the feeling.
Sometimes life is wonderful, and sometimes it's not. Cherish the good, but always be prepared for life's challenges. At Private Healthcare, we provide the peace of mind you deserve. With private healthcare, you'll get the coverage you want and healthcare you need. If your employer doesn't supply healthcare coverage and you don't qualify for Medicare or Medicaid, you need to give us a call right now. Private healthcare is private health insurance for ages 65 and under with medical, dental, vision, and even prescription coverage. When life comes at you unexpectedly, you need to be ready, and health insurance is your financial safety net. Health insurance has never been so easy and affordable. If you're looking for health coverage at the best price and your annual household income is $35,000 or more, call the number on the screen now and speak with a live healthcare consultant. Don't wait. Get the coverage you need now.
Welcome back to the final segment of today's edition of the Clarence Bug Show. You know, there is always a silver lining to every dark cloud. And with the advent of COVID-19, I would like to think one of the silver linings, among others, is the fact that we as Americans now are starting to wake up and realize people in trusted positions and institutions that we've put our faith in for many years now have no problem whatsoever with lying to us to our face. You know, there was a time in this country where just the shame factor alone would reveal to us who was trying to BS us right up front. It's hard when you've been raised by decent folk. It's hard to look somebody in their eyes knowing you're lying to them and lie anyway. If you were raised by decent folk, you have that twinge in you. You notice when the lies start to rolling, they can't look at you. They'll look down, they'll look off to the side, they're rubbing their heads, they do all kind of stuff, but they won't look you in your eye. We have long since moved past that point, y'all. They'll look you in your eye with an arm around your shoulder, knowing they got their hand in your back pocket and God knows where else, and won't bat an eye. But at the end of the day, there are still Americans, and rest assured, it's a whole lot more than what you think. There are still Americans that say to themselves, whoa, bruh, wait a minute. I ain't stupid. What you're telling me, and apparently want me to believe or think I'm stupid enough to believe, there's no way in hell I'm buying this. Now, sometimes it takes us longer than it should to get to that point. I get it. We've become lazy. We've gotten comfortable letting other people do our thinking for us, do our speaking for us, standing up for us. I get it. We've become comfortable. What's the old saying? Fat, dumb, and happy. That's what we had become. But now, with the advent of losing freedoms and liberties, we're waking up. And nothing furthers the process along faster than the ugly, vindictive, vicious nature of liberals. See, it doesn't take long with people calling you out of your name, especially when you know you're not what they're calling you. It only takes a certain amount of time when you hear, as an American, people demonizing your country, when you know how great, yeah, I said it, how great this country is. You don't put up with that crap but for so long before you start to lash out. We're getting there, y'all. We're getting there. Rest assured, the media will try to make you believe, oh, that's them conspiracy theorists. That's that little bitty tiny group of people over there. All you got to do is talk to people, y'all. That's all you got to do. Talk to your fellow Americans, your neighbors, your co-workers, and you'll find out. It's a whole lot more people think like me than I thought. Black folk are some of the most spiritual people on the planet. American, African American. We had to be. At one point in this country, that was all we had. So you can't tell me, well, you could tell me, but you'd be lying. You would know it, and I would know it up front. You can't tell me black folk are all on board with the LGBTQ, LMNOP, and whatever other alphabets they've thrown in there since we came on the air. We ain't in that house. We're not. And yet, because you don't want to be labeled a homophobe, well, you just kind of go along to get along. How's that working out for us, y'all? That's why we got 39 genders now. You see how they play you? But the good news is, we're Americans. And we ain't gonna let this ship go down just like talking about it. Not as real ones. Which is why, still, you hear me say, this time of day, every single time you see me, you know what, you're right. America, we're not perfect. But for this old boy's money, it's still the best there is. And God knows there's no place else on his green earth that I'd rather be. Speaking of the good Lord, you do realize by now that he loves you, right? And I hope you know that I do too. Best news you gonna get all day, son. There ain't a doggone thing you can do about either one. Take care of yourselves and each other. We'll see you soon. God bless.